We're live from New Delhi, watching DD India Newshour, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, coming up in the next hour. Union Cabinet condemns the Delhi blast as a heinous terror act. A centre directs a swift probe into the incident. On final day of Botswana visit, President Murmu to witness symbolic handover as Botswana gifts India 8 cheetahs. US President Trump signs bill ending record government shutdown after House passes measure 222 for 209, restoring federal pay and essential services. External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar says international cooperation vital for rare minerals. India ready to work constructively with global partners. And on to the top story this hour. A major revelation has emerged in the Delhi car blast case. On Monday evening near the Red Fort in Chandni Chowk, the terrorist identified as Dr. Umar was inside the explosive-laden car and detonated it himself. Now, the DNA tests have confirmed his identity, proving that Umar deliberately carried out the suicide blast. This confirmation establishes that the explosion was a planned act of terrorism executed by the attacker himself. And the Union Cabinet, chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, has expressed its profound grief over the loss of lives in the terrorist incident involving a car explosion near the Red Fort in Delhi on Monday. The Cabinet also observed 2 minutes silence in honour of innocent lives lost. The Cabinet also recorded its appreciation for the statements of solidarity and support from many governments around the world.
The country has witnessed a heinous terror incident perpetrated by anti-national forces through a car explosion near the Red Fort on the evening of 10th November 2025. The explosion resulted in multiple fatalities and caused injuries to several others. The Cabinet pays its respects to the victims of this senseless act of violence and conveys its heartfelt condolences to the bereaved families. The Cabinet prays for the speedy recovery of all those injured and appreciates the prompt efforts of the medical personnel and emergency responders who have been providing care and support to the victims. The Cabinet unequivocally condemns this dastardly and cowardly act that has led to the loss of innocent lives. The Cabinet reiterates India's unwavering commitment to a policy of zero tolerance towards terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. The Cabinet also recorded its appreciation for the statements of solidarity and support from many governments around the world. The Cabinet notes with appreciation the timely and coordinated response of the authorities, security agencies, and citizens who acted with courage and compassion in the face of adversity. Their dedication and sense of duty are deeply commendable. The Cabinet directs that the investigation into the incident be pursued with the utmost urgency and professionalism so that the perpetrators, their collaborators, and their sponsors are identified and brought to justice without delay. The situation continues to be closely monitored at the highest levels of the government. The Cabinet reaffirms the government's steadfast resolve to safeguard the lives and well-being of all Indians, consistent with its enduring commitment to national security and the safety of every citizen.
Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited LNJP Hospital in Delhi to meet the victims of the recent car blast incident. During his interaction, he expressed solidarity with the injured and their families and assured that those responsible for the conspiracy would be brought to justice. More on this report.
On Wednesday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, upon returning from Bhutan, made an immediate visit to the Lok Nayak Jayaprakash Hospital in Delhi to meet victims of the recent car blast incident. PM interacted with the victims and their families at the hospital. PM Modi also inquired about their treatment and conveyed his heartfelt prayers for their swift and complete recovery. Expressing deep concern over the incident, Prime Minister reaffirmed the government's commitment to ensuring justice. Meanwhile, in a significant development on Wednesday evening, Faridabad police seized a red Ford EcoSport, suspected to be linked to the prime accused, Dr. Umar Un-Nabi, in the Delhi blast case. The vehicle, discovered parked near Khandavali village, is now under intense security as investigations deepen. Earlier in the day, Delhi police issued a citywide alert across all stations, posts, and border checkposts to locate a red Ford EcoSport. The alert was issued after investigations revealed that other suspects already connected to the Hyundai i20 used in the explosion were also in possession of another red colored car. The investigation gained momentum after the National Investigation Agency assumed control of the case. NIA teams meticulously inspected the blast site and re-examined vehicles parked near Red Fort at the time of the explosion. Officials questioned vehicle owners to determine the duration of their parking and whether these vehicles played any role in the incident. Security forces in neighboring regions have also escalated their efforts. In Lucknow, the anti-terrorism squad, in collaboration with the Jammu and Kashmir police, seized the car of Dr. Parvez Ansari, who was arrested for his alleged involvement in the blast. This followed a raid on Ansari's residence on Tuesday. In Maharashtra, the ATS conducted a major operation in Mumra Kosa, targeting the home of teacher Ibrahim Abidi. The raid yielded several electronic devices and digital evidence, which are now undergoing detailed technical analysis. During his visit to Bhutan, PM Modi assured in his speech that those responsible will not be spared and will be brought to justice. The explosion, which occurred on Monday near Red Fort, claimed at least 8 lives and left several others injured, sending shockwaves through the capital and across the country. Bureau Report, DD India.
Well, investigations are underway across Jammu and Kashmir after the bomb blast in Delhi. In a coordinated crackdown, Srinagar police conducted extensive raids across various city areas, targeting terrorist associates and suspected networks linked to banned organizations. The operation, carried out under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, focused on individuals and locations suspected of providing logistical support, funding and communication aid to terrorist groups. Several aspects have been detained for questioning, and police have seized electronic devices, documents and incriminating material. Well, India has consistently demonstrated a resolute stance against terrorism, proactively implementing measures to thwart potential threats. Now, recent actions by the nation's security forces have successfully prevented several terror activities, showcasing India's unwavering commitment to safeguarding its citizens and maintaining national security. In the most recent incident on November 10th, a joint team of the Jammu and Kashmir and Haryana police recovered over 2,900 kilograms of explosives from Faridabad. The Gujarati anti-terrorism squad arrested 2 youths linked to Pakistan-based terrorists on November 9th. Also on November 7th, the Rajasthan anti-terrorism squad arrested an individual who was in contact with the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. On 27th of October, Delhi police arrested 2 terrorists and dismantled the ISIS-inspired module named Sautul-Umaha. A Jaish-e-Mohammed module that was active in 3 states was neutralized on October 13th. And the special cell of the Delhi police busted a pan-India terrorist module and arrested 5 suspected terrorists from various states on 11th of September. On 27th of August, the NIA arrested a wanted criminal in the Vizianagaram ISIS module case in a counter-terror operation in Poonch. On 11th of July, the Army and the Jammu and Kashmir Police conducted a raid on terrorist hideouts. Intelligence teams in Hyderabad arrested 2 suspects on May 19th in connection to a Saudi ISIS-related module. Moreover, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has strongly condemned the Delhi bomb blast, describing it as a clear act of terrorism and expressing solidarity with India. Following his meeting with External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar on the sidelines of the G7 Foreign Ministers meeting in Canada, Rubio praised India's handling of the Delhi car blast investigation, describing it as measured and professional. Rubio added that while the United States had offered assistance, Indian authorities were managing the probe efficiently and independently.
It clearly was a terrorist attack, and it was a car loaded with highly explosive materials that detonated and killed a lot of people. But I think they're doing a very good job of carrying out an investigation, and I think when they have facts, they'll release those facts. So, but clearly, I mean, we're aware of the potential that it has, and so we spoke about that a little bit today, the potential that it has to become something broader. But I think we're going to await to see what their investigation reveals. We've offered to help, but I think they're very capable in these investigations. They don't need our help, and they're doing a good job.
Well, new revelations have emerged in Delhi blast as terrorist Umar Nabi visited mosque in Old Delhi on the day of the attack. Police have obtained CCTV footage from the site and are investigating whether he also visited the mosque. And for more, we have Kriti Vadera joining us. Well, Kriti, DNA confirms terrorist Dr. Umar behind Delhi blast. What other details do you have?
Oh, well, Lepakshi, before coming on to the medical details of the blast, let me just put it here that there's a big breaking coming through Delhi police sources that at 9:18 a.m. In this morning itself, there was a PCR call for Mahipalpur, which is just adjacent to airport area, and a call for the blast was made to Delhi police, and Delhi fire service team and Delhi police team is at the spot for the further investigation. So this is the big breaking coming our way. And coming on to Lok Nayak Hospital, where I'm standing right away, yesterday we witnessed that right after reaching way back to home, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited Lok Nayak Hospital right behind me, where the victims of this severe Delhi car blast case are admitted. And the post-mortem reports of the ones who are dead have declared that it was a severe terror attack, as it's been declared by the CSS team, by the cabinet itself, that it has been said that it was a heinous terror anti-national movement. And post-mortem reports reveal that there was a severe blast, and the major injuries which these victims have faced is near the head and the chest area, and majorly the same condition which has been examined in all the victims is the rupture of their eardrums, which clearly shows that the intensity of the blast was too high, and the major injuries they have got is in the shoulder, head and the chest area, and multiple fractures before the abdominal area have been found. So it clearly shows that the shock wave of that blast was so intense that these victims have got such injuries. So this is what we are getting from the hospital sources and authorities. And yes, identification of the died people is still under the process. The DNA reports are being matched. And yes, of course, as you said, that the driver who was driving that particular vehicle, I-20 of white color, on that day, Dr. Umar has been confirmed with his DNA report that he was very much present in the car and he was behind this blast. So these are the reports we are getting from hospital right away.
All right, Kriti. Also, if we see U.S. Secretary of State Rubio condemned the Delhi bomb blast and praised India's handling of the Delhi blast probe as well. Also, a lot of statements of solidarity and support from many governments around the world have come.
See, of course, I mean, internationally, all the countries have been condemning this car blast, and it's very unfortunate to witness such incident in our nation. And all the 4 accused in this blast were medical practitioners, were the doctors from Al-Falah University. Severe investigations have been taking place in Al-Falah University since yesterday. All the faculty members, people connected to these 4 doctors are under the investigation. And not to forget here that there's a big campaign or then investigation campaign of ATS from all the states, I would say, right from Gujarat. And well, it started from Jammu and Kashmir. All these raids, as you mentioned, the dates also 26th, 27th of October. Since then it started. And yesterday we witnessed that in Kulgam and Sopore district of Kashmir. Rigorous, more than 225 raids were there. So all such links are again connected to Jammu and Kashmir terror groups, people involved in that. And ATS team of Gujarat, be it Uttar Pradesh and Maharashtra also, we have seen that several people are detained who were suspects in this case are being detained. So police is on the ground, and government is leaving no stone unturned when it comes to the investigation for this Delhi car blast. And it is very much clear from yesterday's CCS meeting also, and from Minister Ashwani Vaishnav's statement also, that there is zero tolerance when it comes to anti-national activities in the nation.
So, Prime Minister Modi
yes,
visited.
This is what we.
Yes, Prime Minister Modi, as you also said, visited LNJP hospital in Delhi yesterday evening after landing back from Bhutan, met the Delhi car blast victims and vowed justice for those behind a conspiracy. And he said the same thing while heading the cabinet briefing as well.
Well, absolutely. The first thing PM did was to come here and meet all the victims of the blast one by one. We saw the visuals. PM took a note of everyone's health, and he went to each patient, each victim one by one. And I mentioned here that the kind of injuries they have faced, it is majorly above the abdominal area, the chest and the shoulders, and majorly all the victims have faced this ruptured eardrum. They are facing problem in hearing. So these symptoms clearly showcase that this intensity of this blast was very high, and it was not just an ordinary bomb blast. There was a different mechanism to this blast, and these 4 medical practitioners were involved in this, and all the chains to this blast go back to the raid which happened that particular day in Faridabad, and 2,900 kgs of ammonium nitrate was detained from the fellow doctors, Dr. Mujamil, who is under arrest. So all such chains, NIA team is investigating and keeping all such aspects in mind for this further investigation. Lipakshi.
Absolutely, NIA is on it. Thank you so much, Kriti, for all those details from the hospital. And moving on, today is the third and the last day of President Droupadi Murmu's historic visit to Botswana. Significantly, symbolic handover of 8 cheetahs, formally announced by President Boko on Wednesday, will be done in the presence of President Murmu today. In a significant goodwill gesture, President Boko had announced that Botswana will donate 8 cheetahs to India under the Cheetah Reintroduction Project, reinforcing both nations' commitment to biodiversity conservation and ecological balance. Also, President Murmu expressed profound gratitude, noting that the cheetahs would join the growing population at Kuno National Park. Besides, the President will meet Minister of International Relations of Botswana, Fenio Butale, and Vice President of Botswana, Nabada Nakunisati Gaulethe. Later, she will attend the Indian community reception before departing from Gaborone Airport. President Murmu arrived for a 3-day state visit to the country on Tuesday. This is the first visit by an Indian president to the country located in southern Africa. And the handover of cheetahs will mark a new chapter in India-Botswana cooperation and a major step forward in global wildlife conservation. Take a look at our next report on why was Botswana chosen for the remarkable development.
Botswana was chosen for this next chapter because it, along with Namibia, shelters more than half of the southern Africa's cheetah population, making it vital for ensuring genetic diversity and long-term success of India's reintroduced cheetah population. The mission was a remarkable display of international teamwork. A high-level delegation from Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Government of India, led by Director General of Forest and Special Secretary Sushil Kumar Awasthi, visited Botswana in September 2025. The field team, led by wildlife veterinarians Dr. Eric Vernian of Wild Assist Africa, Botswana, and Dr. Sanat Mulia, nodal veterinarian from Project Cheetah, NTCA, working closely with Botswana wildlife officials, expert trackers from private ranchers, and researchers from Cheetah Conservation Botswana. Together, they formed a cohesive unit operating across vast stretches of savanna. Expert veterinarians and wildlife officials from both nations spent weeks tracking, darting, and safely capturing cheetahs from the vast savannas of the Ganzi district. This moment marks more than a conservative milestone. It's a powerful reflection of India and Botswana's shared commitment to wildlife protection and ecological restoration. Together, they are writing a new chapter in the global story of cheetah's return to the wild. Taposh Bhattacharya's report, TD India.
And moving on, Pakistan's parliament approved a constitutional amendment on Wednesday to expand the powers of the army chief and curb the remit of its Supreme Court. Now, the upper house passed the bill 2 days earlier after the opposition boycotted the debate. The lower house of parliament approved the legislation with a more than two-thirds majority, with only 4 lawmakers voting against it. Now, the amendment will become law once signed by the president, a formality. The army chief, Asim Munir, will now be elevated to the new post of Chief of Defence Forces, placing the Navy and Air Force under his command in addition to the army. Now, after completion of his term, he will retain his rank and have legal immunity for life. And moving on, President Donald Trump on Wednesday signed the legislation ending the longest government shutdown in U.S. history, roughly 2 hours after the House of Representatives voted. Now, the Trump's signature on the bill, which cleared the Senate earlier in the week, will bring federal workers idled by the 43-day shutdown back to the job starting today. Although just how quickly full government services and operations will resume is unclear. It would extend funding through January 30th, leaving the federal government on a path to keep adding about $1.8 trillion a year to its $38 trillion in debt. The U.S. House of Representatives passed the spending bill that will end the government shutdown with a 222 to 209 vote. Also, the U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson called the recent government shutdown utterly pointless and foolish, accusing the Democrats of using Americans as leverage in a failed political tactic.
I want to say that all this was utterly pointless and foolish. This outcome was totally foreseeable. I said that this would be the outcome when all this began back in mid-September. They did it anyway. Democrats had admitted that they used the people as leverage, and they got nothing for their selfish political stunt here. They didn't achieve anything with this at all.
And for more, we have my colleague Amrit Pal joining us on the phone line. Well, Amrit, Trump claimed the reopening of the federal government as a big victory for the Republicans. How long do you think it will take for things to go back to normal now? What happens next as the full impact of the 43-day long closure is expected to have its effect for long?
So, Lipakshi, today, once the president has signed the bill that was passed both by the Senate and the House of Reps, now it becomes a law. So that releases the funding. That means immediately it will come into effect. So workers will partly return to their jobs. Their paychecks will be given. But for the full government opening, it will take time. How much time, it's not very clear, because that depends upon how the Treasury releases the money, because this is going to add to their debt. This is going to cost them about $1.8 trillion of annual debt. So I think that will happen in tranches, but it will come into effect from today itself, and we could see federal workers returning to their jobs, getting their paychecks. The effects of the shutdown, long queues at airports, food banks, etc., workers not going to their jobs, all that will start easing in the days to come. So it becomes effective immediately, but for a full government opening, it will take weeks and months for the government to be completely functional again.
All right, Amrit, thank you so much for all those details. And moving on, House of Democrats on Wednesday released emails that they said raised new questions about President Donald Trump's ties to Jeffrey Epstein and how much he knew about his abuse of underage girls, while the swearing-in of a new Democrat kicked off a new fight in Congress over further disclosures. Now, the Democrats released messages between Epstein and author Michael Wolff and Ghislaine Maxwell, a British socialite who is serving a 20-year prison sentence on charges related to her role in facilitating Epstein's sex trafficking. Now, in one 2019 email to Wolff, the sex offender wrote that Trump knew about the girls, though it was not clear what that phrase meant. Moreover, Israeli President Isaac Herzog has received a letter from U.S. President Donald Trump urging him to consider granting a pardon to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Wednesday. Now, Netanyahu has been facing a long-running corruption trial, and Trump has repeatedly asked for a pardon for his close ally. Netanyahu denies the charges and has pleaded not guilty. Trump expressed support for Netanyahu, calling the legal case against him politically motivated and unjustified, while also emphasizing his respect for Israel's justice system. Meanwhile, Herzog's office said that anyone seeking a presidential pardon must submit a formal request in accordance with established procedures. Netanyahu thanked Trump for his support and expressed eagerness to continue working with him on security and peace initiatives. And British Prime Minister Keir Starmer distanced himself on Wednesday from a briefing by unnamed allies that he would fight any leadership bid, throwing his support behind his Health Minister, Wes Streeting, who had been named as a challenger. Now, earlier, Health Minister Wes Streeting said that he was not going to demand Starmer's resignation, adding, "I support the Prime Minister. I've done since he was elected leader of the Labour Party," unquote. Also, the Health Minister's denial followed anonymous briefings by Starmer allies who told journalists he would fight any bid to replace him. Starmer told Parliament that attacks on any of his cabinet members were completely unacceptable and said Streeting was doing a great job. In Peru's Arequipa region, at least 37 people were killed and dozens were injured after a bus plunged into a 200-meter deep ravine on Wednesday. Now, the accident occurred when the bus collided with a van and veered off the highway connecting the coastal town of Chala to Arequipa. Among the injured were an 8-month-old baby with 2 other children, with 26 people receiving medical treatment, 3 in serious conditions. Authorities recovered 36 bodies from the ravine and confirmed another death at the local health center. The Peruvian presidency expressed condolences and said it had mobilized medical support for the injured. Peru has seen a series of deadly bus accidents in recent years, often attributed to poor road conditions and vehicle maintenance in mountainous regions. And Iraq's incumbent Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani claimed a victory for his coalition on Wednesday in general elections after preliminary results showed it had secured a decisive lead. Now, the supporters of Sudani, who is vying for a second term, took to the streets to celebrate with fireworks and music. Sudani described the election victory as a win for all Iraqis and congratulated the nation on its coalition's first place result. Now, as per the Electoral Commission, preliminary results showed Sudani's candidate list leading with more than 1.3 million votes, while vote counts for each list by province were released. Seats allocation in parliament will not be announced until later. The Commission reported that over 12 million of 21 million eligible voters participated, despite cleric Muqtada Sadr urging a boycott. Also, the Secretary General of the United States, Antonio Guterres, congratulated Iraq on holding parliamentary elections and pledged support in strengthening democracy and achieving peace and prosperity. And still to come on DD India Newshour. Government rationalizes royalty rates for key critical minerals to boost domestic production and cut import dependence. Bihar Assembly elections record historic 66.9% voter turnout. Women lead with 71.6% participation, counting on the 14th of November. India's first solar-on-track project launched by NCRTC at Dubai to power green mobility.
I have been a strong critic of British colonialism, but I don't personally believe that we can blame everything on the British anymore. Kerala, in 1957, elected a communist government, the first ever democratically elected communist government anywhere in the world.
Can the Kerala model be implemented in other Indian states as well?
Very good question to which I can't give you a simple answer.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, and time now for a quick recap of the headlines. Union Cabinet condemns the Delhi blast as a heinous terror act. The centre directs a swift probe into the incident. On final day of Botswana visit, President Murmu to witness symbolic handover as Botswana gifts India 8 cheetahs. US President Trump signs bill ending record government shutdown after House passes Measure 222 for 209, restoring federal pay and essential services. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar says international cooperation vital for rare minerals. India ready to work constructively with global partners. And moving on, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar today participated in G7 FMM outreach session on energy security and critical minerals and put forth India's perspective. He spoke about the need on both sides to mitigate dependence, strengthen predictability and build resilience, asserting that greater international cooperation is the only way forward. Jaishankar noted the unpredictability and market constrictions in global supply. Saying more policy consultations and coordination are helpful, he added that the key, however, is to translate that on the ground. The minister stressed that India is open to working constructively with international partners in this regard. And External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar also attended the G7 FMM outreach session on maritime security and prosperity. He underlined India's approach to maritime security through Mahasagar Outlook, Indo-Pacific cooperation and port-led development at home. In his remarks shared on X, he highlighted the imperative of trusted and diversified maritime links and India's efforts in upgrading its shipping infrastructure and developing resilient corridors. Jaishankar further highlighted the need for better coordination in protecting critical maritime and undersea infrastructure, maritime threats and economic crimes, including piracy, smuggling and IU fishing merit deeper international collaboration. He mentioned India's emergence as the first responder in the maritime domain and the endeavour to deepen HADR partnership in Indo-Pacific through joint exercises and logistics agreement, and the importance of maritime trade to national and international prosperity in a globalizing world. He noted the central role of resilient ports and secure waterways in securing our collective agenda and highlighted that the UNCLOS must be upheld. And a crucial diplomatic outreach unfolded today at the G7 Foreign Ministers meeting in Niagara, Canada, where India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar held a significant meeting with Canadian Foreign Minister Anita Anand. The discussions centered on rebuilding trust and advancing the India-Canada roadmap come at a pivotal movement for both the countries. Reporting from Niagara, here is Tarun Paul with the latest.
Meeting global challenges requires global partnerships. The issues we are facing transcend the G7 and our borders. And this is why it is absolutely vital that we have diverse geographic representation around the table. So let's get started. Thank you. Merci.
The majestic Niagara region of Ontario set the stage of high-stakes diplomatic gathering as Canada hosted the G7 Foreign Minister meeting. India was invited as an outreach partner, a clear recognition of its growing global influence and commitment to lending a voice to the global south. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar agenda was packed. He arrived in Niagara on 11 November at the invitation of his Canadian counterpart Anita Anand to join the deliberations with the G7 and outreach nations. India's focus, working with partners to address global challenges while representing the aspiration of developing countries. On the sidelines of the summit, Jaishankar met Canadian Foreign Minister Anita Anand for their third meeting this year. The two ministers reviewed progress under the Canada-India Joint Roadmap, a framework aimed at deepening cooperation in energy, trade and people-to-people ties. They also discussed the ongoing law enforcement dialogue between the two countries. Anand offered heartfelt condolences for those killed in recent blast in New Delhi and reiterated that Canada stands with the people of India during this tragic time. Both sides agreed to keep up the momentum and continue implementing the roadmap. In a social media post after the meeting, Jaishankar congratulated his host on successfully organizing the summit and expressed satisfaction at the roadmap's progress, adding that he looked forward to further rebuilding the bilateral partnership. Canada's foreign minister echoes those sentiments, noting that India, now world's fourth largest economy, has been a key partner for more than 75 years. Jaishankar's diplomacy went beyond Canada. He held a series of bilateral meetings with ministers from South Africa, Mexico, Germany, France and Brazil, and the Premier of Saskatchewan, exploring cooperation in trade, health, food security, clean energy and technology. These engagements underscored of India's determination to build partnerships across the world and to ensure that voices from the global south are heard. From Niagara, this is Tarun Paul from DD India.
Well, seeking to reduce import dependency and vulnerabilities in the supply chain of critical minerals, the government on Wednesday approved the rationalization of royalty rates of graphite, cesium, rubidium and zirconium. Now, under the revised structure, the royalty of graphite will now be calculated on an ad valorem basis instead of per ton basis, meaning it will be charged as a percentage of the average sale price instead of a fixed amount per ton.
कुछ क्रिटिकल मिनरल्स देश में ऐसे हैं अवेलेबल जिनके रॉयल्टी के स्ट्रक्चर को चेंज करने की ज़रूरत थी. बहुत ज़्यादा हाई रॉयल्टी इम्पोज करके रखी हुई थी, उनको रिड्यूस किया गया. पहला है ग्रेफाइट, दूसरा है जिरकोनियम, तीसरा है रुबिडियम और चौथा है सीजियम. कि इनके ऊपर जो रॉयल्टी है वो रिड्यूस की जाएगी जिससे कि इनका प्रोडक्शन बढ़े. और ये सारे के सारे ऐसे एलिमेंट्स हैं जिसका देश में बहुत उपयोग है, खासकर इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल इंडस्ट्री, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इंडस्ट्री और स्ट्रैटेजिक सेक्टर्स में, सब में इनका बहुत उपयोग है.
Well, for graphite containing 80% or more fixed carbon, the royalty will be 2% of the average sale price, while lower grade graphite will attract 4%. The royalty rate for zirconium has been fixed at 1% and 2% for rubidium and cesium each. The Cabinet has approved amendments to the second schedule of the Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Act 1957 to bring in these changes. The new rates aim to give greater clarity to companies planning to bid for critical mineral blocks in upcoming auctions. All of these elements are used a lot in India, especially in the electric vehicle industry, electronic manufacturing industry and strategic sectors. Increase in indigenous production of these minerals would lead to reduction in imports and supply chain vulnerabilities and also generate employment opportunities in the country. And another significant decision, the union government also approved an export promotion mission with an outlay of $2.506 billion for 6 financial years beginning this fiscal. Ashwini Vaishnaw said it is a very comprehensive mission and it will support the complete export ecosystem. He added that the decision will help exporters deal with high tariffs imposed by the US. Under the mission, priority support will be extended to sectors impacted by recent global tariff escalation, such as textiles, leather, gems and jewelry, the metering crowds, the engineering goods and marine products. The measure will help insulate domestic exporters from the high tariffs imposed by the US on Indian goods. That the US has imposed a hefty 50% tariff on Indian goods starting August 27th. And moving on to the Bihar polls, the polling in Bihar Assembly elections has concluded with a historic highest ever voter turnout of 66.91%. Polling for all 243 Assembly constituencies in Bihar was held in 2 phases on the 6th and 11th of November. The counting of votes for over 2,600 candidates will take place on 14th of November. The elections witnessed record voter turnout since 1951 with around 67% participation across both phases, which is about 10% higher than in 2020. The first phase registered over 65% polling, while the second phase recorded around 69% of voting. Bihar recorded its highest ever female voter turnout at 71.6%, while male voter turnout was 62.8%. The Election Commission of India said that scrutiny of documents in all 122 assembly constituencies in phase 2 was completed smoothly in the presence of returning officers, general observers and candidates or their representatives. No discrepancies or malpractices were found, leading to a historic outcome of 0 repolls, a first for Bihar in recent decades. And Deepika Mehta joins us for more on the polls from Patna, Bihar. Well, Deepika, this has been a record-breaking voter turnout for Bihar, over 66% and especially over 71%. As for the females are concerned, what factors on the ground do you think contributed to such an enthusiastic participation, especially as we said about the women?
Good morning, Lipakshi. That is a great news which has come from Election Commission of India of late. And when we talk about the voter turnout here, it has been really tremendous, and especially when we had a word with women and we asked the reason since in the first phase of polling as well and in the second phase of polling as well. They said that women's safety is one of the biggest reasons that what encourages them to come out in large number and vote and cast their vote. And such was the case for the first time voters as well. Another reason for women to come out in large numbers is not only the safety of women but the entire law and order situation that was maintained by the police officials here, by the district administration here in their respective polling departments and booths, and also by the Election Commission of India overall. So there a very peaceful voting process we saw not only in cities like Patna but also in districts like Jahanabad and in sub-districts like Ghosi. So everywhere the situation was similar, the picture was same, it was smooth, it was safe, it was free and fair. That led to a huge voter turnout, this time breaking all the records of Bihar elections so far, Lipakshi.
All right, Deepika, also both phases of the polling were reported to be largely peaceful. Tell us about the present situation and what arrangements do you see in the battleground as the much-awaited counting day approaches tomorrow?
So the Election Commission of India and the district administration, they did a recce of the college where the counting process will take place here in Patna, and all arrangements are being made with high security measures being taken care of at the counting center as well. The counting will begin tomorrow early morning and it will end as and when the results will be completed, as and when the ballots will be counted for all the departments, for all the booths there. Now, when we talk about the mood here in Patna, especially because the counting center is here in Patna, the headquarters of all the parties are here in Patna, people are really enthusiastic. Many of the party members have already started celebrating their early victory, riding on high confidence. They have already started preparing with the placing huge orders to the sweet shops, but the results are yet awaited because the counting process has not started yet. We are yet to see the counting process to begin with. Now also the parties, the kind of voter turnout that we've seen, the parties are saying this can bring a huge difference to the result as well. But when we talk about the results, the exit polls are also currently happening, and majority of the exit polls they showcase a winning picture for the NDA alliance here. Now, there are many reasons being attributed to the winning factor of the NDA alliance, and Nitish Kumar once again taking the chief ministerial position. His sympathy factor, his initiatives that he's taken for the people here, and especially the women, the kind of transactions he's done to their official accounts for their betterment, for the betterment of the female power here. And not only this, we visited the Gandhi Maidan here, which is a huge and an iconic place of Patna, and around 5,000 to 10,000 students were training there. Why? Because there is a recent and fresh opening for Bihar police officials. So that also gives them a huge boost when we talk about their opportunities which are opening with many of the frontier gates that the people are witnessing here, right from the youth to the women. And we had a word with different people also, the specially abled also. They say that they are getting a lot many opportunities. They are being respected in the state. This is what they want. So let's see where the wind blows towards which direction. But right now, as if we go by the exit polls, it goes towards NDA. The final counting day will decide the fate of Bihar Assembly.
All right. Absolutely. In fact, all eyes on for tomorrow's counting. Thank you so much, Deepika, for all that information, and we'll keep taking more as the day progresses. Moving on, Southern Army Commander Lieutenant General Dheeraj Seth reviewed the operational preparedness of the Konark Corps, a key formation of the Southern Command, during exercise Akhand Prahar, which is being part of the Tri-Services exercise Trishul. Now, the Lieutenant General witnessed combined arms maneuvers, showcasing inter-service coordination, refinement of tactics, techniques and procedures, and the employment of next-generation battlefield technologies, including drones and counter-drone systems. Akhand Prahar aimed to validate the Indian Army's capability to conduct integrated multi-domain operations in synergy with the Indian Air Force. Now, the exercise reaffirmed the Corps' transformation into a modern, agile and networked force, future-ready for multi-domain, high-tempo operations. And now let's take a look at other stories making news today. The National Capital Region Transport Corporation has launched India's first solar on-track project at Namo Bharat Depot in Duhai. Installing solar panels directly on the tracks, the 70-meter pilot system will generate 17,500 kilowatt-hours of energy annually, reducing 16 tons of carbon dioxide emissions. NCRTC's goal is to meet 70% of its energy needs from renewable sources. The Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, is set to host the 13th edition of the International Tourism Mart for the North-Eastern region from 13 to 16 November 2025 in Gangtok, Sikkim. This annual flagship event aims to showcase the tourism potential of the North-Eastern region, highlighting its rich natural beauty, cultural diversity and adventure tourism opportunities. A joint operation by the Indian Army, Jammu and Kashmir Police and the Border Security Force recovered 6 hand grenades from a forested area of Jammu and Kashmir's Kupwara district on Wednesday. The search was based on intelligence about a possible militant hideout in Jabri forest. And still to come on DD India Newshour. Indian Grandmasters Arjun Arigaisi and Ramesh Babu Pragananda move into the 4th round tie breaks at the FIDE World Cup in Goa. Adelaide holds 93rd annual Christmas pageant parade.
Can the US launch a bombing campaign against Iran? The Philippines vessel suffered structural damage. The saga of child sexual abuse is the United States China's debt trap strategy. Truth is stranger than fiction. But sometimes hard to uncover. Trust us to tell the truth, unadulterated and pure, of every story that matters to you. We read between the lines, cut the clutter, and connect the dots to get you the full picture. Watch Connecting the Dots at these times with me, only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Now. I'm Lepakshi Kuran, and on to some sports news now. Indian Grandmaster Arjun Arikaisi, Ramesh Babu Pragananda and Pentala Harikrishna have moved into the fourth round of tie breaks at the Fight World Cup in Goa. Arikaisi accepted a draw against the experienced Grandmaster Peter Leko of Hungary. Pragananda split the points against Grandmaster Daniel Dubov, and Harikrishna also drew against Nils Grantelius of Sweden. Among the five Indians in fray in the fourth round, all eyes were on Arikaisi and Pragananda. Meanwhile, Pranav Venkatesh and Karthik Venkataraman were knocked out of the tournament. They were beaten by stronger rivals Nodirbek Yakuboev of Uzbekistan and Lee Kwong Lam of Vietnam, respectively. And organizers unveiled the schedule for the 2028 Los Angeles Olympic Games with spotlight on the women 100 meters competition and a Super Saturday session. The competition starts with the opening ceremony on the 14th of July and ends with the closing ceremony on 30th of July. The biggest ever games will feature 11,200 athletes in 51 sports across 49 venues. Every team sport will feature an equal number or greater number of women team for the first time, with 50.5% of total athletes being women. On day one, the most number of women's finals ever will be contested, starting with triathlon with the spotlight on the women 100 meters competition. And India's shuttlers HS Pranoy and Lakshya Sen advanced to the pre-quarterfinals of the Kumamoto Masters Japan Badminton Tournament after registering contrasting wins in the first round matches. Now, Pranoy battled past Malaysia's Junhao Leong 16-21, 21-13, 23-21 in a thriller. The 33-year-old Indian badminton player showed glimpses of his best to outlast his higher-ranked opponent. After conceding the first game, Pranoy shifted gears in the second to level the contest. He held his nerve to clinch the match, saving 2 match points along the way. Meanwhile, Paris Olympics semi-finalist Lakshya Sen enjoyed a far smoother outing. He eased past Japan's Koki Watanabe 21-12, 21-16 to set up a round of 16 clash with Singapore's Jia Heng Jason Tay. And while number one, Yannick Sinner reached the last four of the ATP finals on Wednesday after beating Alexander Zverev 6-4, 6-3 with a match to spare. Sinner bid to retain his number one title at the prestigious end-of-the-season tournament. The 24-year-old was not at his best and struggled with a hand problem at the start of the match, but still had more than enough to see off Zverev for the fifth straight time. Zverev hasn't beaten Sinner since the 2023 US Open, being destroyed by the Italian in the semi-finals of the recent Paris Masters. Sinner will take on Ben Shelton, aiming to top the group. And the schedule for the 2028 European Championship has been announced. Cardiff will host the opening match on 9th of June, with the final scheduled in London on 9th of July. The tournament, hosted by England, Scotland, Wales and Ireland, will run across 9 venues in 8 cities. It will feature 24 nations involving 51 matches. Belfast has been chosen to host the Euro 2028 qualifying draw on 6th of December next year. And the official logo, mascots, torch, jerseys and anthem for the 5th Khelo India University Games in Rajasthan were unveiled in Jaipur on Wednesday. Organised by the Sports Authority of India in collaboration with the Government of Rajasthan, the event marked the countdown to India's premier university sports competition. Chief Minister Bhajan Lal Sharma unveiled the mascots, Khama and Ghani, inspired by the camel, Rajasthan state animal, and the greeting Khama Ghani, symbolizing the state's warmth and hospitality. The Khelo India University Games Rajasthan 2025 will be held from 24th of November to 5th of December across 7 cities: Jaipur, Udaipur, Jodhpur, Kota, Ajmer, Bharatpur and Bikaner. Over 7,000 athletes from nearly 200 universities will compete in 24 sports. And in Australia, more than 330,000 people lined the streets of Adelaide for the much-loved annual Christmas pageant. Celebrating its 93rd anniversary, families came from far and wide to celebrate and share the Christmas spirit. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.